Live from my office coming up in 1 minute right after this word about the Rouse Center for the Performing Arts. Joining me now is Paul Coyte. He's our special guest today. And Paul, I want to bring you into this commercial, this blatant plug, because you were on stage with me at the Rouse Center.
Oh, wow. Listen, I'm not being funny, but I've worked in Theatreland, in London's heady West End, yes. Shaftesbury Avenue. Well, actually, I haven't worked there. Well, I kind of worked there, but not on stage. But I've been in many theatres in my life, and what a theatre that was. Yeah, I had such a wonderful feel about it.
And didn't you find that you and I were really entertaining?
You know what? It kind of helped, because there's been different theatres I've been in where I've not been entertaining. And I blame the place. And the place brought it out in me, and I think everybody there that was enjoying the show felt the same way about it.
Well, I wanted to bring this up, Paul, because this New Year's Eve, we are doing 2 New Year's Eve shows. Now, you might be saying, Steve, it's August 4th when we're...
Well, I was thinking you're getting a bit previous. Yeah.
Yes, but the point is the tickets are on sale right now. Why would you wait when you can get those tickets right now for you, your friends, your whole family?
Yeah.
August 4th at 2 o'clock. Apparently this one is New Year's Eve for people that can't stay awake until dinner, if you prefer.
Yeah.
Because we're doing 2 shows. We have a show later that night as well. But 2 o'clock in the afternoon at the Rouse Center for the Arts in beautiful Crystal Lake. Paul Coyte's favorite theater in Crystal Lake.
Correct.
Actually, dare I say your favorite theater in Chicago?
I would say my favorite theatre in the world. Would that be pushing it slightly? Or the London Palladium is pretty close, but I love it.
Very good. It's very good. Here's how you get tickets. You go to rousecenter.org, rousecenter.org, or call the box office, 815-356-9212. That's 815-356-9212. We'll see you New Year's Eve for Steve Cochran's New Year's Eve matinee for people that can't stay awake until dinner. It's the Rouse Center, endorsed by Paul Coyte.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Paul Coyte today, he's on the show to say whatever's on his mind, both critical or kind. And Paul Coyte is from way across the pond, where Big Ben bells will ring and fish and chips are king. And Capital Gold and Virgin Radio, the Sony Award and TalkSport Breakfast host, Bobby Moore Club and Wembley House MC, a trained auctioneer, just pay appearance fee. He learned a lot about the States with his family, a trip to visit and prove their expertise. Like when you order a cheeseburger plain, here say with or without cheese. Oi! And Paul Coyte today will speak his British way, not upper class refined, he'll speak his bloody mind.
Welcome to Live from my office, where my friend Paul Coyte, friend doesn't cover it, one of my best friends in the world, and I don't have very many people that like me. One of my best friends in the world, Paul Coyte, joins me for our semi-regular check-in. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I hope you are as well. Happy, by the way, the phrase, I think I've mentioned this to you many years that I've known you, but Americans and Brits say Happy New Year in a different way and put inflections on different words. Have you noticed that ever?
Yes, so you do it.
Happy New Year. And you say Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. That's exactly
Happy
right.
New Year.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we put the emphasis on the year. Happy New Year.
Why do you
and
think
you'll
that
be Happy
is?
New Year.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know, because I think there must be a country that puts the emphasis on the Happy New Year. But anyway, happy.
Again. You do it. Let me hear yours.
Happy New Year.
That's kind of unhappy. You kind of went Happy New Year, and here it's Happy New Year. The year, to me, going up on the year is more optimistic. Like we're heading into a new year. Good God, It's got to be better than last year.
Absolutely. Well, let's hope so. We've only got 6 months left of this one, so let's just make the most of this one, and then hopefully it's a Happy New Year next year.
You should do it our way.
In fact, I keep trying. You know, my son actually always says to me, Dad, you say Heathrow Airport in a very strange way. And it's a very strange conversation that I have with my son from time to time, because I say, it's Heathrow. And he goes, Heathrow? It's Heathrow. So I think I may have inflection problems.
Well, you could go to a clinic for that.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Do you think so?
Yes, I do.
Do you think so?
There are doctors that specialize. Actually, we all speak the King's English. It's just you speak it in a more profoundly proper way. We just pervert all of it and make it Americanized.
I think I still speak the Queen's English. That's the problem, is that I'm just not... I'm still 1952. And that's the problem for me. I was listening to an old radio show that I did many years ago, and there was a caller on the show. And I don't listen very often, Steve, you know that. And there was a caller on the phone, and they spoke in like a strange accent, and I thought that accent doesn't exist anymore. Because I don't know about you, but accents of kids, I spoke with quite a London Cockney accent. That doesn't really exist anymore. A little bit more urban these days. No, and the accents change over the years. So does that happen over there?
Yeah.
Whereas you think kids talk differently now?
In the 80s, there was sort of a California girl thing that was popular.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist anymore. But all of that is beaten out of us from all those years on the radio where we weren't allowed to speak in any way other than normal.
That's right.
And by the way, it's too hard not to be just who you are. Yeah. Because if you're putting on a character every day, it's dreadful. I'm off the radio after 43 years. So I basically just talk to myself in my office here.
Well, it's not a lot different from like you probably did on the radio. And by the way, you will be back on the radio. You know that's going to happen, don't you? Because everybody wants you back. So that's the thing. That's the truth. Whether you feel that way or not, everybody wants you back because the radio is a lesser place without you.
Well, that's what
and I mean that.
But radio is not the problem. It's the people that own them. It's the same where you are.
It is.
In the meantime, let's explain. You're now a major television star. You are an epic major television star, gigantic television star. And you appear on The Breakfast Show, the morning show, as we call them here.
Yeah.
So if you think the Today Show, Good Morning America, CBS Morning News, all of those things, you were on what show?
It's on GB News. It is the TV channel. So
GB News, a network across Europe, right?
Yeah, which has GB News America as well, which you can easily pick up if you're on an Apple player and any of that sort of stuff. See, I'm going to get all technical again. So,
I didn't know that. So you could stream it. You could stream it. Well, I love your app. The GB News app is the best app I have ever seen because on a daily basis, what I can do around noon or so, whenever I come, wake up after another bender, I can go to the GB News app and I can watch the morning show, the breakfast show, and scroll right to my friend Paul and see what funny things you're saying about sports to your co-hosts on the show.
Well, I try and be serious, and it just doesn't seem to come out that way. I want to be respected as a sportscaster, but I don't think it's ever going to happen, Steve.
Yes, of course you do. Of course you want to be respected.
I'd like to be a sportscaster.
You have... Yes, your inflection's better. You have an ability...
Yes, sir.
To sell sports as if you actually care. Now, I know there are some things...
Yes.
There are some sports you care about greatly, but I know there are also sports you speak of you don't care about whether or not they occur or don't occur, but you give them the respect and reverence they should, and then you play with them, specifically with the legend Eamon. Eamon is who for folks in America?
Eamon Holmes is a legend. He's the longest-serving morning TV host in the world. Over 100 years he's been on the TV now. So he's incredible. Wow. Even before TVs were invented, he was on the TV.
That's incredible.
That's not bad, is it?
You two have a particular chemistry. Eamon is about my age. Eamon and I are about 5 or 6 years older than you. And he treats you like the little brother that he really loves.
Well, that's nice. But the thing is, it's almost like a second-rate version of our relationship. Do you know what I mean? I see him as like a number 2 Steve.
Yes,
that's how I see him.
Yes.
That's how.
But it's a wonderful. I mean, really, it's a cool show to watch in general because it's legitimate news. Now, the rest of the day on GB News is a very conservative approach, but the morning show that you're on is news.
That's right. Yeah, it is news. It is news, and I beg your pardon.
And you can watch it live on the app if you're up in the middle of the night. But by the time you're off the air each morning at, 9 o'clock?
Yeah, 9 o'clock. Yeah, 9.
3 a.m. here. It's
3 a.m. Yeah. So I'm like the Nighthawk. Yeah. I'm like, what was that? Jack Killian, the Nighthawk.
Yeah. We had.
Did you base your act on him?
I did.
Back in the 80s?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
We all did, didn't we?
Anyway, I'm very proud of you and what you've accomplished on TV, what you continue to accomplish on TV. So let me start, though. Let's start with some sports.
Yes,
The
sir.
Olympics are on. We're talking on August 4th. The Olympic golf just wrapped up.
Yeah.
And Tommy Fleetwood, Great Britain's finest, he just gave away the Olympic gold medal to Scotty Scheffler by boat
Yes, he did.
17.
Yeah.
Scotty Scheffler, we shouldn't say that actually. Scotty Scheffler earned it because he came in blowing birdies in, and Scotty's very, very good. But I thought Fleetwood had this done.
Yeah, I did as well. And but that's the British way, is that we're just far too polite. He's going into the 17th, and I thought even in golf, no, but no. We just can't seem to nail these things. But we're not having a bad Olympics. This is one of our best Olympics. But I do have a bone to pick with you.
Oh, what's that?
As a country. And I'll apologise before I go into this.
Well, that's very British of you. What's your bone?
Earlier on in the Olympics, I know you are top of the official Olympic medal table now.
Yes.
But before, you were not top of the Olympic medal table. But according to broadcasters in your country, you were, because the Olympic medal count is based on gold medals. That's how you rate who is top, and it's gold medals first. But because you hadn't won more gold medals than we had at that point, it was done on bronze and silver as well, which has never been the case.
Yeah.
So now, at the moment, I believe that you are top on golds, which is fine.
Actually, that's not the case. China has 18 golds, 15 silvers, and 9 bronze for a total of 42. Ties them with the home country, France.
Right.
You have 37. We have 65 medals total, but 25 of them are bronze.
So is it still done on the amount of medals that are won?
It totally depends on which site you access. Olympics.com, you'd think would be the official site. And Olympics.com has China at number 1.
Right. Okay. That's a Chinese site. They've already logged. They're already doing that website anyway. It's coming from China. You know that, don't you?
Yeah, it's TikTok AI. But yes, but there's been some great stories here. And brag about your country. What have you won, Great Britain?
Well, when you talk about what I do for a living, and also the fact that I get excited about sports that I'm not particularly excited or know much about, tomorrow I will be featuring quite greatly on skeet shooting. Are you familiar with the skeet shooting?
Not only am I familiar with skeet shooting, I have been in a skeet house where the clay pigeons are fired. I was hit in the leg at the age of 7 by the arm of a clay pigeon thrower, which nearly cut my leg off.
You're kidding me.
No, because when growing up in the 70s, your parents would say, go play with something dangerous and good luck.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And I have actually shot at clay pigeons.
Goodness me! So what hit you? Was it the clay pigeon?
Arm that yes, the pigeon.
Oh, it was the arm of the thing. What, you were standing too close?
Right in front of it. The mechanical arm flings forward and throws the clay pigeon out into the air.
Yeah.
At various angles and spots.
By the way, can I just interrupt? Am I allowed to laugh at this story or not? Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead.
It's not enough time has passed. It's hysterical.
Right. So you're in front of the clay pigeon flinger. Yeah.
Yes. And interestingly enough, clay pigeon flinger was your name when you were an exotic dancer.
Correct. Yeah. What are the chances?
Yeah. So, yes, I got hurt by that. But yes, I'm quite familiar with the sport. And I know that 2 Americans went gold, silver in that sport.
Wow. Now, it was the women's one, where we had a woman who was second to someone from Chile, I think, or Chile. What do you see? The thing, that's another thing I've got a problem with, is how to pronounce the word or the country Chile. We would say Chile, but Chile is, when it gets a little cold, you get a little chilly. But then Chile just doesn't sound right. You come from Chile.
Well,
it doesn't sound right. And in your accent, you get away with it. With us, it just sounds ridiculous.
I would think in their language they get to decide, but who am I to say?
Yeah.
But no, I would think that any shooting sport, you guys would do very well because you're fox hunting and you're grouse hunting and you're shooting each other. Well, you don't have to shoot each other. But the shooting sports, I would think Great Britain would do very well.
Yeah, but you used to duel a lot in the Wild West, didn't you?
Yes.
Where you take steps away and then turn around and shoot. That skeet. So the skeet. What's a skeet? What is a skeet?
Skeet shooting. I believe skeet is the other name for the target that flies out.
Right. So it's a clay pigeon is the skeet.
Yes.
So if you'd have stood any closer to the clay pigeon slinger, it could have thrown you up in the air.
Yes.
And you could have been shot flying across. And, well, I wouldn't be speaking to you right now. Is that correct?
That's true. We never would have met. We never would
Oh,
have met.
my goodness me. All you would have been is a very famous Olympic story.
Yeah.
And that's all I would have, I would have known.
I would have been Olympic filler.
You know what? They would have called them a Cochrane. They would be going, what would you do? You fire the Cochrane. And they go, why is it called a Cochrane? Well, let me tell you a story.
All right, let me go backwards to golf for a second because I forgot this part already. Tommy Fleetwood, I think this is interesting. I don't know if you'll talk about this on TV.
Yeah.
Tommy Fleetwood married his manager. His manager was 23 years older than he is. Now, we know endless examples of old guys marrying younger women.
Yeah.
But younger guys marrying older women, not so much.
Apart from the French president, of course.
Yeah, with the exception of the French president.
Yeah.
So they've been married for 7 years.
Right.
And he is the stepfather to her 2 children, who I believe are 30 years older than he is. Yeah. But it's just interesting to me. It's interesting to me. Tommy Fleetwood, good-looking young Brit, married his manager, who was old enough to be his mother.
Well, it takes all sorts. Well, he wasn't originally Fleetwood because she was in Fleetwood Mac, right? Is she Stevie Nicks? Is that how it works?
No. He did not marry.
He's married to Stevie Nicks, who's now managing his golf career.
You know what? Actually, that's a better story. Let's go with that. He is married to Stevie Nicks.
Yeah. Okay. Fine.
We're all shocked by it. What else have you performed well in as a country?
We've done quite well at swimming. We've done very good swimming. I do love the swimming. I don't know about you. I'm a big fan. I think it's a very elegant sport. I love it. I love a tumble turn, which is something I've never been able to perfect myself because the water goes up your nose at a great speed when you go upside down, and that's why sometimes you see them when they have the clips on their nose or the what do you call the swimmers that do it as the team? They've now changed the name.
I was never able to do it on an Olympic level. I was slowed down by the snorkel mask.
Is that right?
Yes.
And you've got to, and the thing is, the water will then go down the snorkel as you tumble turn. But tumble turn, don't you think? Do you think something very elegant about the tumble turn?
Yeah, no, it's amazing. It's amazing to be able to do it, to hit the spot and continue to go. I know there's a Frenchman that's done very, very well. He's won.
Léon Marchand.
Yeah, what you said.
Léon. Yeah.
What you said. And this is the extent of my French accent.
That's very good. That's very good.
But he has done very well. And
trained in America.
You've had some legendary English swimmers, haven't you?
Well, funnily enough, just as we're speaking, I've just had a message from one of our great swimmers, Mark Foster, who is the main commentator for the BBC, who was the 50-metre world record holder many, many times over. But another one of those athletes that never won an Olympic medal, for him to come on my show tomorrow. So he's going to be coming on, but he's one of our great swimmers. But the thing is, we have so many great swimmers that are around at the moment, but the swimmers that still are the most famous, although I don't know whether this is my age, are ones in the 1970s. There was a chap called David Wilkie who won the 100-metre breaststroke in 1976. There was Duncan Goodhue who won the same breaststroke in 1980. They were huge. They were monstrous stars. They were unbelievably big stars in this country. Whereas now we have swimmers that have, goodness knows, nobody really cares so much. And I think the problem is because there's so much sport. Back in the day, there was only terrestrial TV. So you would make do with what sport was on, whereas these days you can see whatever you want, whenever you want. So it kind of lessens those Olympic sports for me. Same with track and field, athletics, and also swimming. So the names don't trip off the tongue like they would have done when we were kids.
What about tennis? Because you're strong in tennis.
Well, let's say strong in tennis. Yeah, Andy Murray, but Andy's now retired. So did you see the tweet that Andy put out, by the way?
No, I did not. But didn't he do well in doubles?
Yeah, they got through a couple of rounds, but he was never going to win the gold medal. He's already won gold before, but it was his last attempt because Wimbledon was out, and then he was injured, and then he played in the doubles there, and then it was going to be the Olympic tennis was going to be his final, the last hurrah, the end of the career. And I love Andy Murray. For me, the greatest British sportsman there's ever been. I mean, I think this guy is amazing. And he tweeted, this was his final, he just tweeted, I never really liked tennis anyway. And that was his goodbye. And isn't that great? And I just think that's so good.
That's very, very funny.
Yeah.
Is there any other sport we should mention in regards to success for Great Britain?
Success for Great Britain. Well, the track and field will be good. Swimming, we've done well in. Is there anything else that I can think of? Cycling, no. I think we won a gold medal in cycling. Off the top of my head, I'm just trying to think. Badminton, still coming up. We have the oldest skateboarder. We've got 2 skateboarders. We have one called Sky Brown, who is 15 years old, and we have an American man who I think his family are from Great Britain. I think his mum and dad were from here. And this guy's a true legend. He's 50, and he will be competing in the skateboarding for Great Britain. Did you know that?
He's going to break his hip.
Well, you would think so, wouldn't you? And I'm pretty worried for him. But I mean, this guy's a legend of the sport, and he's been friends of Tony Hawk's, and now what is his name? Let me tell you his name, because I had him on the show and everything.
I have a feeling his first name was Lionel. He sounds like a Lionel to me.
Do you think he's a Lionel? I don't think he's a Lionel. Andy McDonald, that's it. Andy Mack, 8 X Games gold medals. And lives in LA, but his dad was born in Luton, and so therefore he's competing for our country as a skater. Do you think that's fair? How do you feel about that? Because he's pretty much an American, but he's going to be a Brit for us.
We live in a world where all those boundaries are crossed now. You just make sense of it. I mean, we mentioned the golf. You're watching the golf. Most of the golfers live in Florida, but they're representing all of these different countries.
Yeah.
So the whole thing's a fraud.
He was born and raised in America, though. I mean, he's essentially an American man. Whereas, really, how would you feel about if I'd said, "Look, I'd like you to join me in the skeet shooting, but we will attempt to shoot for Great Britain and Northern Ireland"? Would you be prepared to make that change if someone had made you the offer? Would you do it and walk away from? USA just for that?
I'd get to that because I have post-traumatic flingy thing disorder.
You do.
Which I really can't get anywhere near skeet shooting at this point in my life. You know what I saw this morning our time, which is really fascinating, was something called the kayak cross.
Yeah.
Where they put 4 kayaks on top of a box, and then they pull a little wall up and they shove them down a hill.
That's crazy, isn't it?
They slide down the hill and they go as fast as they can around pylons and things to get to the end. Those kind of, any of the sports where you could die, I find entertaining.
Yeah, I think there was a canoeing guy. I used to know an Olympic gold medal canoeist. If only I could remember his name. Maybe it's time for me to find him again. But they go backwards, forwards, they turn in, and I don't really. You can actually still go to where they held the London 2012 canoeing, and they built this whole purpose. This is the greatest canoeing, kayaking, I don't know what you call them, course. Yes. In the country, and everybody trains there. It's unbelievable. I mean, and you do the falling off, and you can actually do like a whitewater rafting experience there. But you know what stops me? The water being too cold. Because I have a problem with cold water. I'm even on holiday in Croatia. If the swimming pool is slightly cold, I ain't going in. And I love swimming pools, but I have to have a good temperature for me to go swimming. So therefore, I would be out of the kayaking unless the temperature was warm. That's fair, isn't it?
No, it's absolutely fair. At this point, though, I would say everything you've discussed makes complete sense to me, and that probably frightens a lot of people.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. That's good to know. What do you think about the woman?
Simone Biles.
Oh,
Simone Biles right now has been cleared for landing at Heathrow.
Heathrow.
I
don't know how. I didn't realise how small she actually is.
She's tiny, but can you?
2'3", is that right?
Yeah,
it's unbelievable. What a talent!
They came up with a bobblehead that's bigger than her.
It's incredible. Yeah, she is good, isn't she?
She is unbelievable, and she does fly. She defies gravity. It's quite something.
And she got a little motor there that's flying her up in the air. Because she spins and jumps and does all that stuff. how she's unbelievable. She's a very, very impressive woman.
She's married to a football player here for the Chicago Bears, whose name I don't know, and why would I? But it'd be interesting to see if he ever won an argument, because it seems like if he ever got ahead in an argument in their marriage, she would just go, yeah, well, can you do this? And then she'd jump higher than their home. And then he would just have to go, okay, you're right, you win.
But the thing is, I did see a tweet even, or an X or whatever you call it, from him about her after she won the vault. Did you see that?
No, was it lovely?
What is his name? Is it Jonathan Owens? Is that right?
Sounds perfectly fine to me.
It said, now try and explain this for me. Can I use a bad word? Is that okay?
No, of course.
Jonathan Owens, just another reminder that my wife is the shit. That's not very nice, is it? It's not a very nice thing to say. And I think she's a multiple gold medalist. And he said my wife is the shit. And I think that's very disrespectful.
Can you imagine if I said that to mine wife and you said that to yours? You know, honey, you're the shit.
Yes, but I'd forget to use the. And I would then, it would all go, I'd be in all sorts of trouble. And I said the, you did not say the. I did say the.
That's fantastic.
All
right, more family stuff here, if you don't mind for a second.
Yes, sir.
You were about to go through something that I went through several years ago. You were about to send off your daughter to university.
Yeah.
And I have warned you. You will be a basket case. You're a tremendous father. All joking aside, you're a great dad.
Bless you.
And I know how much your kids mean to you. And when your daughter goes off to school, you'll be a hot mess. That's all. You'll be a hot mess.
There was what I said before she goes. Now she's going to go to Glasgow University. So for us, Glasgow is a flight away. So let's say 500 miles. Or maybe less, which for you is probably down the road. For us is ridiculous. It's huge distance. Ridiculous. Couldn't be further away. So that's worrying me. Firstly, she's leaving home, which I'm dreading. Secondly, it's going to be a long way away. All of this. So as you know, I work at Tottenham Hotspur for the football club for the season. So I'd said, listen, we don't know what's going on. September the 14th is going to be the day that Ruby goes up to Glasgow. So whatever happens, whoever, if Spurs are at home, I will have to tell the football club and I'll just say, look, I'm not going to be there that day. You'll have to get someone to cover for me. I'm just not going to be able to do it. Which also turns out to be the 20th anniversary of me working at the football club. So I just said, look, I'm not going to be able to do it. So firstly, I'm thinking, right, please let Spurs be away that day, be playing somewhere else, which with, of course, no problem whatsoever. So the day the fixtures came out, when they have the list, not only do I find out that Spurs are playing at home, but also on that day, they're playing the local rivals, Arsenal, which is the biggest home game of the season. So I've said to my wife, Sue, and I've said to Ruby, and I said, look, no matter what happens. So then I said, well, maybe I'll come and see you. I'll come and see it. It may be best that I'm not there. It may be best that I'm not there anyway, because I'd just be a mess. I'd just be crying all over the place.
Be a mess, but you are expected to be at the stadium with the Spurs as the man on the pitch, the man on the field, as we say here, speaking to the fans. So much so that when you briefly left the club and it proved to be their worst idea ever, there was an uproar. So having to choose between your daughter and this 20-year relationship, yeah, I mean, listen, I know you pick your daughter, but maybe you got to do the job. I don't know. That's a very tough call.
Well, they've moved the game to a Sunday, where it was going to be a Saturday. So maybe there's a chance I can go up on the Saturday and then fly down for the Sunday, and then, we'll have to see. 14th of September. It's a day I'm dreading. And what were you like? What were you like when Amy went?
Yeah, when Amy went to school, which was only 2.5 hours away.
Right, because you've got a bad car, though, haven't you? So for most of us, it was even closer than that, right?
Yeah,
that's a really cheap joke. I apologize.
2 hours away.
Yeah. Okay,
so 2 hours away. And when she went away to school, I was amazed because when we left, anywhere you would look in the parking lot, there were parents with their children crying by the car.
Yeah.
And the kids weren't crying so much. I mean, a few were. but it was mostly the parents. And it looked like people were sending their children off to war.
Yeah.
When in fact they were leaving them in very comfortable living arrangements for this next step in their lives at university. But that's what we.
But they're crying for themselves, aren't they? That's the thing. Let's be honest.
100%.
It's not crying worried about what they're going to face. Yep. It's how they're going to be without the kids.
Right. The great fear that you'll have to have a relationship with, as we called them, the shit.
Yeah.
But it turns out that, it's a great chance to reestablish the two of you, or in this case, your tremendous son Joe will still be home for a couple of years.
1 year.
1 year. And you will
1 year.
smother him and then take him hostage and not allow him to leave.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, I'm thinking that maybe I will go to university next year and then Joe stays. But we'll see how that goes.
I threatened both my kids that I would move near campus.
Yeah.
But no, it's a wonderful step for Ruby. She's an amazing girl. And I'm here to tell you she's going to be just fine. But you won't be. You will not be fine.
No, I know. How long is this going to be for, though?
Oh, the rest of your life. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because see, the thing is now you've entered a series of stages where everything is different. And it's wonderful for the child because the child is turning into an adult and you're experiencing all these new things. But in your case, it's just things taken away from you. Yeah. First, it's your daughter, then your daughter meets a boy, and then another family is involved. Oh. And life is never the same. Never the same. And then grandchildren come along. And down the road, when grandchildren come along, it's great because you just replace your children with the grandchildren.
Yeah.
And you tell yourself in your head, you know what, I like these ones better anyway. They're newer.
Okay, that works for me. And then you can put them away when you're done with them.
Yes. So
you have them for the fun time instead of thinking, you have them and you play. And then right, well, that's far down the way for me, I hope. That's not close, though, is it?
No, well, I don't think so.
Good.
Another 10 years probably before Ruby takes that step. But I hope she does. She'd be a great mom someday.
Okay, well.
And by the way,
that doesn't make me feel any better, by the way.
You'd be a great mother, too, by the way, if that ever happens.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah.
All right, so moving on to politics, because we have
right.
You have a new prime minister. What do we think of him?
Sir Keir Starmer. I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure how I feel about him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he seems all right, but the problem is that he does support Arsenal Football Club, and that
can't have that.
Is not good, really. No. So that gets in the way for me. So anything that goes on with the country is he supports that rival team, Arsenal, which is not really very good, and he's quite open about it as well. I don't mind sometimes if they just play it down, but he seems quite open about the fact that he supports Arsenal, which doesn't help me at all.
Yeah, no, it's not smart politically. He hasn't come up with any crazy ideas like renaming the country or changing things fundamentally, because you guys like things the way they are.
Well, you're right. We do like things the way they are. That's the way this is what this country was built on, not changing at all and sticking with. That's why often, if you're in London, you will see a man walking along with a bulldog in smoke with a top hat on. Because we don't like change. Right. That's the reason. That's why we're still chirpy cockneys. That's why we drink warm beer.
Sure.
That's why we still play football. And that's why we still call it football and not soccer. It's lots of reasons, but we don't like change. So therefore, when a new government is actually brought in, which is change, it's enough for us to handle as it is at one time. So not too much change, please. Too early, because it does throw us, as you well know.
Yeah, and that's why you've got the nice castles and things and things that go back thousands of years. That's
exactly right.
The oldest historical edifice in America is 6 months old. We just knock it down and rebuild it. Put up a cul-de-sac.
I remember when I was a tour guide, as you know, many, many years ago, so we're probably 35 years ago, and I used to stand on the top of double-decker buses going through London and pointing out all the famous sites. And I still remember a man with a Stetson. He had a big 10-gallon hat on. And not only that, I can still remember that he had like this plastic diaper thing that went over the main part of the hat because it was raining a little bit and he didn't want to get his hat wet. Come on. And he did look at me once and I could still see his face. And he went, "Hey, guide." And I said, "What?" He goes, "What's the thing with you Brits always living in the past?" And it's like, well, what do you want to see, for crying out loud? I'm on a tour. I'm showing you the frickin' Tower of London, which is 1,000 years old. What do you want to see? What's where did you live?
It sounds
in the past?
exactly like a Texan. Now, I will offer you a trade straight up. I will give you Orange Julius Caesar, Donald Trump,
Julius
or
Caesar.
Keir Starmer.
Yes.
We take it straight up. Would you like? I don't know if you noticed, because I know you took a family vacation. You're very busy.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed. You're watching a lot of skeet shooting. I don't know if you noticed, but we had the President of the United States announce he is not running for re-election. The Vice President steps in. She is the candidate. In a couple of weeks, our time here, it's August 4th today, but in a couple of weeks in Chicago, the big convention will be going on. Donald Trump was shot at by an assassin. By the way, the bullet did not hit him. His ear was cut by a piece of flying glass, except the truth.
Right.
And Donald Trump is now campaigning on the fact that he dodged a bullet because God saved him. Look, he is the same reprehensible, horrible, world's worst person he's always been.
Yep.
And he still is in a position of facing 91 felony counts. He's got judges in his corner. All this has to go to the Supreme Court. It's a big, big hot mess. But the fact that he is the other candidate and still in the conversation, I didn't think it could get any more embarrassing for America, but it did.
We spoke probably when he started his term as president. I remember 2 weeks in, and you just said, there's no way this is going to go longer than a year.
Right.
There is no way. And, I'm not going to embarrass you by saying that because you'll probably still stand by it.
I thought he would be out in less than a year, mostly because he's fundamentally stupid. He doesn't understand the job. He has no interest in the job. He just wants the attention. It's an absolute fact. And I thought, a year in, he'll get bored and he'll get out. Well, now he's staying in for no small reason because it's keeping him out of jail, because he's absolutely committed multiple crimes and he should go to jail. But as president, he's trying to accrue enough power and change enough rules to stay in charge. So I'll say to you what I said to you in 2015. It's time for another war, and it's time for you to take us over again. You need to get over here with a bunch of redcoats, and this time you don't have to walk through Virginia,
right,
and Maryland. You could get an Uber, and bring some muskets, and take this country over. We need you. So
we'll head towards the Capitol building and just go, look, we're nice, though. Is that okay? Can you just bear with us? Because we're quite nice.
Unlike the war,
we're the nice ones.
Unlike the War of 1812, this time you just come up and knock. Just say, we're here to take over. And, I'm pretty sure most people would let you in.
Yeah, if only we didn't have, if only we were trouble-free here, we'd have the time to be able to sort it out. But the world's going to hell in a handcart, and I don't even know where that phrase come from because it just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. I don't even know what a handcart is.
It's the first scene of Blazing Saddles, the greatest movie of all time. It's an Old West thing. All right, so
is it really?
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, look, I think we've covered a lot here. We've covered the fact that the UK has done quite well at these Paris games.
Yeah.
We've covered
for
the
us
fact that both of us have political problems. Ours are bigger than yours.
Sure.
We've covered the fact you should take over. We've covered the fact that you'll be a mess when your daughter goes off to university.
Yes, I will. Yeah.
And we've covered the fact that we should never refer to our wives as the shit in case they don't hear the.
Yes. Listen, if I could impart any advice to anybody, and I'm very selective with my advice. If you ever refer to your wife as the shit, put your inflection, and this is how we started with inflection, on the, not shit. Yes. That's where the inflection is the most important. Have we wrapped it up with a little bow? Not the shit. I mean, obviously, that's something different, but I mean the show. The broadcast, the podcast.
That's tremendous. Yes, live from my office, the podcast. That's exactly right. It's my friend Paul Coyte. Paul, don't go anywhere. Just a couple of thank yous here. I want to thank Ross Cochran for putting this together. You're a big fan of Ross Cochran.
No, I love Ross Cochran. Yeah.
Yeah, and he is the executive producer, of course. And we want to thank the good people at the Rouse Center. More on them in just a second. And remind you that we have live from my office wherever you get your podcast. You know that because you're listening now. It is exciting news, Paul. We got the ratings, the numbers, the figures.
Oh.
This is the number one podcast in my office. There's no podcast that comes out of my office.
That's great news.
Yeah,
congratulations.
And we'll be back with many more of these. Just tell your friends and family. Maybe take your parents' phones or your grandparents' phones and subscribe to Live from My Office so they never miss an episode. And Paul, if we could just wrap this up the way we started by reminding people, coming up on New Year's Eve, it's the Steve Cochran New Year's Eve matinee.
By the way, that's January 31st, right? Or is that December 31st? Or is it November? When is that New Year's Eve thing?
We're going to go with December 31st, New Year's Eve.
December 31st.
Yeah. And you've got 6 months to buy tickets. My question to you is, why would you wait? If you go to rousecenter.org, RAUEcenter.org, or call the box office if you like, 815-356-9212, you can get your tickets now. Paul Coyte appeared with me on New Year's Eve 2022, I believe.
That's correct.
And we had a great time on stage. I'm hoping you'll be able to do another one of our New Year's Eve shows. I can't make any promises. But just for the sake of selling more tickets, Paul Coyte will definitely be there.
Yes, sir, I will. Yes.
So get your tickets again, rousecenter.org. What's your greatest memory of that show that we did together?
My greatest memory is probably my knees knocking before I went out. And it was you know what it was? It was the, when the people are with you, and it was lovely, and everybody was friendly, and everybody was lovely. And it was very, very enjoyable. And it had that Christmas spirit. It had that seasonal goodwill that I felt. And I not only had a lovely time coming over to see you, but what a great night it was. I just so enjoyed it. That's the reason I didn't come back the next year. I couldn't afford the flight. I'll be honest with you. I couldn't afford the flight.
Well, you're welcome to come back. And I will wrap this up by saying Scotty Scheffler, a man who doesn't show much emotion, is crying while listening to the national anthem after winning a gold medal. So even after you've won $50 or $60 million in your regular job on the PGA Tour, you can go to the Olympic Games and win a medal for your country and still be moved to tears. Meanwhile, Tommy Fleetwood
he's also moved to tears because he's listening to the American national anthem as well.
And he's flipping off Scotty behind his back.
But he's got his older wife to go back to, which is nice. And she's the shit as well, apparently.
No, you're the shit. That's my friend Paul Coyte. This is live from my office. We'll see you next time. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Live from My Office, a service of Monkey Run Productions. All rights reserved. The podcast is hosted by Steve Cochran, and it's mixed, edited, and produced by me, Ross Cochran. Steve is available for corporate speaking gigs. He would love to MC your event, and occasionally, he's funny. Thank you for listening. Head to cochranshow.com for more.